Hello, beautiful people. Now let's talk of Leo Navamsha. The fifth sign, isn't it, Leo? So, what happens when planets and points come in your Leo Navamsha dominant? Okay, first of all, understand that Sun is a Sattvic planet. That means it will purify anything that comes into this particular Navamsha. Any planet or point that comes in Leo Navamsha will get purified over time. Stop doing any remedies for this. There is no remedy for this. Sun will automatically do it for you. And it will always give results on time. That is to say, when Leo Navamsha is active in your Dasha system, Mahadasha system, okay, it will give the results on time. It's always punctual. Sun is disciplined, Sun is very punctual. Leo is actually a sign of enjoyment, functions, intelligent, education, love, fame, and recognition. Any planet in Leo Navamsha will always provide you these kinds of things. Will always give results on time. It is very disciplined. So what you should do for working with dominant planets in your Leo Navamsha, if there is such a thing, is to build a kingdom around it. King wants to build a kingdom. King wants to provide rules, regulations, is to drop boundaries. So what ends up happening is the number one priority is to make sure you make rules for everyone else, which people will not like. You make rules for people and they will fight you, isn't it? Every government knows this. People will face severe troubles if they have many planets or points in this Navamsha for their position. They battle for their position. Although they desire it, Leo Navamsha means you desire position, authority, leadership, but you end up drawing boundaries. You create rules and charter for other peoples to follow. Therefore, it creates a lot of rebel pushback from the crowd. Therefore, all initial troubles you will face because others will resist until this planet succeeds. Therefore, what I am saying is, initially you might go through a lot of troubles in this Navamsha if there are lots of planets and points, and use the Karaka, Saturn for work, Venus for partnership, and so on. Initially, a lot of troubles. But later on, these people will come and start following you. They realize you are the king in that. So you learn through difficulties of other people's pushback. A lot of people get removed from your life. If there's Mercury here, you might lose your siblings. You will lose in the sense they will go away from your life. After every setback, you become a better person in Leo Navamsha. There might be a lot of ego problems, obviously, Sun. Ego because you're so worried about what other people will tell you, what other people will say, that you make all wrong choices in life. People will tell you all kinds of things, isn't it? That's the nature of them. Everybody has limited knowledge, yet there is the pretentious nature to human side, which says, I know better than you. There's no such thing in reality. It's all different aspects, different viewpoints. Every chart is. Each one of the 8 billion people are like that. What happens when Saturn comes here? They become very disciplined at work. Saturn is a Karaka of the common man. It does not know how to lead. Sun knows how to lead. So if Saturn comes in your Leo Navamsha, you'll have troubles with boss. And eventually you will become the boss. So initial problems in career, but it will get filtered through life. Stop doing remedies for Leo Navamsha. It's a royal sign. So when you are having Saturn here, understand that you will progress through life. Understand that you will have lots of fights with authority figures, with bosses in your life, in your career. But it will pass. You will eventually become the boss. Okay? Think of it that way. When Mercury is placed here, you become very disciplined in your speech, in your talking style. You analyze everything with right and wrongs. Sun is the ethical compass. Leo is your ethical moral compass. Think of Lord Rama. Sibling figures, disruptions, clashes in the beginning, but it gets better later in life. You study to show off your degree and qualifications, not for educating yourselves. There's so many of this, especially in India. They love to show off their degrees, isn't it? I've done this degree, that degree. Maybe you have Mercury in Leo Navamsha. It is not studying for the right reasons, but to show off. The egotistical part comes here. Mars here, for example, will give initially a lot of properties. Will get better in terms of anger management over time. Initially, you might be very egotistical. Mars in Leo Navamsha, very egotistical initially. And so you'll get beaten down by other people so that eventually they'll learn I should bend down my head, humble myself, and learn how to handle this. It's a lot of energy. You have to learn how to handle it. Initially has to go through a lot of suffering due to brother, maybe, due to siblings, the karakas of Mars, due to friends, and eventually rise and implements laws and rules. The advice here is do not bitch or backstab, be very straightforward. Mars is like that. Rahu here will start abusing the government. Rahu is very rebellious against the government, isn't it? Rahu is the one which creates solar eclipses. Rahu can eclipse the sun, the king of darkness. They start finding loopholes within the government rules. They are very good at this. They become part of the system to break the system. Rahu is an outcast. Ketu in Leo Navamsha cannot sit in positions. These people cannot hold the fort. See, Ketu is not interested in becoming the king. It is a king maker. If you have people in your government, in your circles, in your higher circles of government, etc., high positions, Ketu will make you the king. But it is not interested in the throne. Ketu is a monk. So they can win the throne, but they will give it off to somebody else. So typically, Ketu in Leo Navamsha will show a kingmaker. Moon here has highly egotistical kind of emotions, thoughts and feelings, distinguishing everything in terms of right and wrong. They may have clashes with the mother, masses, etc., karaka of moon, but improves later in life. They make wrong food choices. They follow what other people think, what other people will say. Typical Indian attitude, isn't it? If I do this, what will other people say? Log kya kahenge, as they say. They have to do things to show off rather than their own satisfaction. Sort of victim mind and mentality. The queen who thinks no one will like me now if I do such and such a thing. That's Moon in Leo Navamsha. So the person will get experiences due to an emotional level because of ego issues. Combine the two. Venus here will have problems with the marriage. He'll have a dominating bossy kind of spouse, If you're a guy with Venus in Leo Navamsha, you might be henpecked husband. But the key here is stick with them. Over a period of time, it gets better. Because when you start improving every single day, every single moment, you will start getting the filtration, the sattva aspect of sun will start coming in. And it does slowly, day by day, week by week, year by year. Might have a very bossy spouse, by the way. Jupiter here, the person gets lots of gurus who are going to teach them a lesson for a lifetime. That's the betrayal they will face, Jupiter in Leo Navamsha. But they again get purified over time. Go with the masses, whoever is famous. These people will always find gurus who are the most popular. They'll see Sadguru's followers and say, okay, this is my guru. Why? Because he's got popularity. They'll follow a YouTube channel if it's got lots of views. Why? Because, okay, this guy knows something. You see? It's just a point of view. You're getting carried away with it. So this Leo Navamsha, Jupiter acts like this. Wants to show off his knowledge and wants to decide rules for others. Not appropriate for Jupiter to be making rules for other people. Jupiter makes rules and guidelines for the masses. But that is better in Sagittarius than Leo Navamsha. You can't sit in governments. Jupiter is not very good with governments. It is good with institutions. Sun here makes authority figures, makes the father very bossy, father very moody and emotional in nature, blamed for bad decisions as a leader. Think of Lord Rama and his life. That's what happened to him. Gets very bad bosses earlier in career, later to become the boss. Physical strength is bad habits, sorrowful mind, cannot distinguish between rights and wrongs. They follow what other people think. This was the problem Lord Rama had, isn't it, in his life? Even the latest story of Sita and what he did, the Agni Pariksha. Because the people in the kingdom were suspicious, he wasn't. So he always is concerned about what my people will say, what the masses will say, what other people will say. Have to do things to show off to others' satisfaction. That is the issue with Sun in Leo Navamsha. Next, I shall see you in Virgo Navamsha. Listen in for the rest of the details in this podcast.
Navamsha, as internal self, after 30 years maturity, after marriage. The Leo Navamsha. Before we step into Leo Navamsha, pause with me for a moment and remember why Navamsha matters so much in Jyotish. Your birth chart shows how you enter the world and how the world first meets you. Your Navamsha shows who you become once life has tested you enough that pretending is no longer possible. After Saturn maturity, after responsibility, after commitment, after marriage, the Navamsha quietly but firmly takes the driver's seat. This is your internal authority, your soul's posture when nobody is watching. Leo Navamsha is where the inner self discovers dignity, self-respect, creative sovereignty, and the need to shine from authenticity rather than approval. If Aries was raw survival, Taurus was value, Gemini was curiosity, Cancer was emotional truth, Leo is the moment the soul asks, "Who am I really?" when I stop performing and start owning myself. Leo Navamsha is not about loudness. It is about inner royalty. It is about the quiet certainty that you matter, that your presence has weight, that your life must mean something. After 30, and especially after marriage, planets placed in Leo Navamsha begin to demand recognition. Not from the crowd, but from you. If you carry Leo Navamsha energy, life will repeatedly push you into moments where you must stand up for yourself, claim your space, or risk shrinking into resentment. Let's walk through how each planet actually behaves once this internal sun begins to rise. When the sun enters Leo Navamsha, something profound happens to your identity after 30. You stop chasing validation and start demanding alignment. Do you notice that you can no longer tolerate disrespect, even subtle disrespect, the way you once did? You begin to lead from the inside out. Marriage reveals this clearly. You need admiration, not flattery. You need to feel chosen, not managed. If this sun sits in the first house of the Navamsha, you step into your authentic self unapologetically. If it sits in the 10th, your career becomes a stage where integrity and leadership matter more than position. When the moon moves into Leo Navamsha, your emotional world wants to feel seen. After 30, emotional neglect hurts more than conflict. Do you notice that you need appreciation to feel emotionally secure? That silence feels heavier than argument? In marriage, you bloom when you are acknowledged. If this moon sits in the 4th house, your home becomes a place of pride and warmth. In the 7th, emotional fulfillment depends on mutual admiration and loyalty. When Mars enters Leo Navamsha, your drive becomes expressive and purposeful. You don't just want to act, you want your actions to matter. Do you feel anger rising when your efforts go unnoticed? Mars here fights for honor. In marriage, you protect fiercely but react strongly to ego wounds. If Mars sits in the 3rd house, your words carry force and leadership. In the 10th, ambition becomes noble. You want to lead, not just succeed. When Mercury enters Leo Navamsha, your voice becomes confident and commanding. After 30, you speak with authority, not arrogance, but certainty. Do you notice your communication becoming more intentional, more impactful? You don't like being ignored anymore. In relationships, you need to be heard. If Mercury sits in the 2nd house, your speech carries dignity and creative power. In the 11th, you influence groups through ideas and vision. When Jupiter enters Leo Navamsha, wisdom becomes theatrical and heartfelt. You teach through inspiration, not instruction. After 30, you want your beliefs to uplift others. Do you feel called to mentor, guide, or inspire? Marriage often brings shared purpose here. If Jupiter sits in the 5th house, you become a powerful teacher, parent, or creator. In the 9th, your spiritual path becomes devotional, expressive, and purpose-driven. When Venus enters Leo Navamsha, love wants to feel special. After 30, casual affection no longer satisfies you. Do you notice that you crave romance, celebration, loyalty, and pride in your relationship? You want love to feel alive. In marriage, you need warmth and appreciation. If Venus sits in the 7th house, the relationship thrives on admiration and mutual pride. In the 5th, romance and creativity intertwine beautifully. When Saturn enters Leo Navamsha, the lesson is humility through responsibility. After 30, you are tested on ego, leadership, and integrity. Do you notice life forcing you to earn respect rather than demand it? Marriage here requires maturity. Authority must soften into reliability. If Saturn sits in the 6th house, you learn leadership through service. In the 10th, success comes late but carries immense respect and permanence. When Rahu enters Leo Navamsha, the hunger for recognition intensifies. After 30, you want visibility, influence, applause. Do you feel pulled toward the spotlight, even if you pretend you don't? Marriage may amplify ambition or bring power dynamics to the surface. If Rahu sits in the 1st house, your identity transforms dramatically. In the 10th, fame, leadership, or public authority becomes irresistible. When Ketu enters Leo Navamsha, detachment from applause sets in. After 30, you may find yourself stepping back from the spotlight, even if you once craved it. Do you notice that praise feels hollow unless it aligns with your soul? Marriage here requires quiet mutual respect. If Ketu sits in the 5th house, creativity becomes deeply personal and spiritual. In the 8th, you undergo ego-death experiences that refine your inner authority. Leo Navamsha ultimately asks you one essential question once Saturn has matured you and marriage has mirrored you. Do you know your worth, even when no one is clapping? Because when that answer comes from within, your presence changes. You don't shout, you don't chase, you simply stand, and the world responds. I'll see you in the next Navamsha. Meanwhile, you take very good care of yourself today.